It is 3 a.m. Your eyes are burning, your body is exhausted, but your thumb just keeps scrolling through the endless feed of bad news. You tell yourself you just want to catch up on the world, or maybe find one funny video to make you smile before sleep. But the truth? Hi, I am Neo. Welcome to your mind. Today we are decoding a paradox. You aren't actually looking for joy right now. You are looking for stress. It sounds crazy, right? Why would a tired brain actively seek out more anxiety when it is already overwhelmed by the weight of the whole day? To understand this trap, we have to look past your lack of willpower. You are not lazy. Your brain's ancient alarm system has been hijacked. Let's rewind a bit. When you finally lie down in the dark, the noise of the outside world stops. And that is exactly the problem. For an overthinker, silence is rarely peaceful. Silence is the loud, echoing stage where every past mistake and future worry suddenly grabs the microphone. Meet anxiety, that little jittery purple friend. When the room gets quiet, anxiety starts shaking, reminding you of that awkward email you sent yesterday. Without any external distraction, your mind becomes a very uncomfortable place to stay. You feel a tightness in your chest, a sudden wave of dread. So what does your brain do? It desperately searches for an escape button. And the quickest, easiest escape hatch is sitting right on your nightstand. The moment that blue screen lights up, the silence is broken. You have successfully drowned out your own internal thoughts with a flood of external noise. But here is the catch. The content you are swiping through isn't relaxing you. It is actually feeding a hidden psychological mechanism called the negativity bias. We will dive deeper into that bias in a moment. But right now, notice how your breathing gets shallower with every single swipe you make. You are trading the terrifying silence of your own mind for a constant, numbing stream of global panic. It is a very expensive emotional trade. You are doom-scrolling because you are trying to outrun yourself. Let's see exactly how social media engineers weaponized this instinct to keep you trapped. Welcome back. Let's travel back in time. Your brain evolved in a dangerous world, where missing a beautiful sunset was fine, but missing a hungry tiger was fatal. This evolutionary survival mechanism is called the negativity bias. Let us look at how your brain processes different types of information on a typical day. When you see good news, your brain barely registers it. It slides right off like water on glass, because happiness does not guarantee your immediate physical survival. But when you spot bad news, alarm bells ring instantly. Your brain latches onto negative information like Velcro, treating every scary headline as an immediate, life-threatening predator. In the prehistoric days, this hyper-vigilant negativity bias was your greatest protector. It kept your ancestors safe. But today, it has become your biggest emotional vulnerability. Why? Because modern social media algorithms are specifically designed to hack this exact survival instinct. They feed on your brain's natural craving for potential daily threats. These apps operate like a massive slot machine, but instead of coins, they dispense random bursts of outrage, fear, and controversy directly into your tired mind. The algorithm does not actually care about your mental health or happiness. Its only goal is to capture your attention and keep your eyes glued to the screen. So back in your dark bedroom, every time you swipe, you are not relaxing. You are actively scanning a digital horizon for predators that do not exist. Your eyes trace over disaster after disaster. Your heart rate slightly elevates. You are artificially simulating a state of emergency while lying perfectly still under your blanket. And down in the anxious corner of your mind, that little jittery purple friend is treating every doom-scrolling session like an all-you-can-eat buffet of pure panic. You think you are staying informed, but you are actually just feeding your anxiety until it grows so loud that you cannot possibly fall asleep anymore. You are stuck in a paradoxical loop. You feel stressed, so you look at your phone to escape, which then pumps even more stress into your nervous system. It is exhausting, isn't it? You are fighting a biological war against thousands of software engineers whose only job is to keep your thumb moving at 3 in the morning. But the negativity bias is only half of the story. Next, we need to talk about why your brain specifically hunts for evidence that you are failing. That dark puzzle piece represents the confirmation bias. It is your brain's deep psychological need to secretly prove that its current beliefs are completely accurate. If you go to bed feeling worried, insecure, or overwhelmed, your brain does not want to see happy videos. It wants evidence to justify your bad mood. So, as you swipe through the darkness of your room, you are unconsciously hunting for information that perfectly matches the heavy, anxious feeling sitting in your chest. Enter the inner critic. This is that loud, judgmental voice in your head that loves to remind you of everything that is going wrong in your life. When the inner critic takes the microphone at 3 a.m., it tells you that the world is a terrifying place and that you are completely failing. Instead of fighting that voice, your brain uses your smartphone to look for backup. It actively searches for global disasters or toxic stories to validate it. The moment you read a terrifying headline or a post about someone's life falling apart, a twisted mechanism clicks into place inside your nervous system. Your brain points at the glowing screen and says, "Aha! See? I told you things were awful. I was entirely right to be panicking all along." This is the confirmation bias in action. Your mind acts like a strict bouncer, kicking out any positive information because it does not fit the mood of your inner critic. Imagine putting on a pair of dark gray sunglasses. No matter how brightly the sun is shining outside, your entire world is going to look gloomy and threatening. Psychologically, certainty feels much safer to us than uncertainty. Even if the certainty is absolutely tragic, your brain prefers it over not knowing what will happen next. You are not doom scrolling because you hate yourself. You are doom scrolling to curate a digital museum of hopelessness that proves your inner critic was completely right. You finally lock your phone, feeling emotionally drained, exhausted, and miserable. But on a primal subconscious level, your brain feels a strange sense of dark satisfaction. You just spent 2 hours researching reasons to be unhappy. You successfully validated your stress, but you completely sacrificed your peace of mind in the process. We have seen the psychological trick, but what is physically happening inside your body right now? To answer that, we need to talk about a very stressful chemical. Meet cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone. When your brain perceives a threat, even a fake digital one, it floods your system with this exact chemical. Cortisol prepares your physical body to either fight or run away. It makes your heart race, your muscles tense, and your breathing become incredibly shallow. But you are just lying in bed. You cannot punch a stressful tweet, and you cannot physically run away from a terrible news article. So all that jittery, aggressive energy stays trapped inside your physical body, making it absolutely impossible for your nervous system to relax and go to sleep. Now, you might logically wonder, if looking at my phone is so incredibly stressful, why don't I just turn it off and close my eyes? Because of a specific neural network called the default mode network, or the DMN. Think of it as a background application constantly running in your head. When you are not focused on a specific task, your DMN turns on. It is naturally responsible for daydreaming, self-reflection, and processing your wandering internal thoughts. But for an overthinker, the DMN is overactive. It acts like a broken search engine, endlessly hunting for past regrets and terrifying fictional future scenarios. Neuroscientist Marcus Raichle described this network. When it gets too loud, it triggers a painful mental cycle called rumination, basically chewing on negative thoughts constantly. When your DMN ruminates on a bad memory, your brain cannot tell the difference between a real threat and a thought, so it releases more cortisol. To escape this painful internal noise, you instinctively grab your phone. The bright screen and fast content completely force your brain to focus outwardly. This external distraction temporarily hits the pause button on your overactive DMN. The loud, self-critical voices in your head finally quiet down for a brief moment. But remember the trap. The social media feed you use to silence your DMN is filled with negativity, which violently triggers even more cortisol release. You are caught in a crossfire. Turn the screen off and the DMN tortures you. Keep it on, and the algorithms completely stress you out. You are essentially choosing between internal anxiety and external panic. No wonder you feel completely exhausted. But how do we break this seemingly impossible loop? Step 1 to breaking this loop is shockingly simple. Stop hating yourself for doing it. Self-criticism only feeds the exact anxiety you are trying to escape. Your brain is doing exactly what it was biologically programmed to do millions of years ago, protecting you from perceived danger. It is just confused right now. When you forgive yourself for doom scrolling, you instantly take away the microphone from your inner critic. You cut off the emotional fuel that keeps the panic alive. Step 2 is reclaiming your environment. You don't have to throw your phone out the window. Just create a tiny bit of friction between you and the screen. Research suggests that it takes an average of 66 days to build a new habit. So, start incredibly small. Try the 10-minute delay rule tonight. When the urge to scroll hits you in the dark, tell yourself, I can look at my phone, but I must wait exactly 10 minutes first. In those 10 minutes, the sharp, desperate spike of anxiety usually begins to soften. Your amygdala, your brain's fear center, realizes there is no actual tiger in the room. And what about that loud default mode network? Instead of drowning it in digital noise, you can actually guide it toward a much safer mental space. Try replacing the urge to scroll with a low dopamine mental task. Recall the plot of a boring movie, or mentally walk through the rooms of your childhood home. When you do this, you give your brain a boring, repetitive task. The cortisol levels slowly begin to drop, and your body finally realizes it is safe. You cannot magically force yourself to fall asleep, but you can choose to stop pouring highly addictive digital gasoline onto your mind's natural nervous fire. Tomorrow night, when you inevitably feel the urge to doom scroll, just remember, you are not seeking terrible news. You are just a very tired human seeking profound peace. And that peace is not hidden inside a glowing rectangular screen. It is waiting for you in the quiet space right after you finally close your eyes. Thank you for exploring your mind with me today. If this helped you understand yourself a little better, don't forget to subscribe. Rest well, you deserve it. The information provided in this video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional mental health advice. Please consult a qualified psychological expert if needed. Wait, don't leave just yet. Fixing your 3 a.m. habit is amazing, but surviving the night is only the first half of the battle. What actually happens to your exhausted brain when the sun finally comes up? The answer lies in a massive chemical crash that ruins your mornings. The alarm goes off. You open your eyes and your head feels incredibly heavy. This intense grogginess is not just normal morning tiredness, it is sleep inertia. While you were doom scrolling, your brain missed out on deep sleep. During deep sleep, the glymphatic system normally acts like a cleaning crew for your mind. Researcher Maiken Nedergaard found that this system washes away cellular waste. But because you stayed awake stressing, the trash literally piled up in your head. Feeling completely drained, your hand instinctively reaches for the exact same device that kept you awake. But this time, you are hunting for a different chemical. Enter dopamine, the bright yellow molecule of anticipation. Most people think dopamine is about pleasure, but it is actually about craving and seeking rewards. According to researcher Kent Berridge, dopamine is what makes you want things. It is the engine that drives your motivation to get out of bed. When you open a social media app first thing in the morning, you are hitting your brain with a massive artificial flood of cheap dopamine. Your brain's reward system lights up like a pinball machine. It takes zero physical or mental effort to get this massive rush of chemical stimulation. But here is the hidden danger. By flooding your system with so much cheap dopamine before breakfast, you instantly ruin your baseline for the day. Because your brain just received the ultimate digital reward for doing absolutely nothing, everyday real-life activities suddenly seem incredibly dull and completely pointless to you. Studying, working, or even having a simple conversation now feels physically exhausting. Your brain is instantly experiencing a severe withdrawal from that intense digital high. This is how the late-night stress trap transforms into a daytime motivation crash. You are stuck seeking more hits of dopamine just to survive. But how do these apps keep you coming back for more, even when you know it feels terrible? It is all about the variable reward. To understand why you cannot stop scrolling, we have to look at a classic psychology experiment involving a box, a lever, and a very hungry pigeon. In the 1950s, psychologist B.F. Skinner discovered something fascinating about behavior and rewards. He called it operant conditioning, and it changed everything. If a pigeon pecks a button and gets food every single time, it learns the rule quickly. But eventually it gets bored and stops trying. But what happens if the reward is completely random? Sometimes the pigeon gets a tiny seed, sometimes nothing, and sometimes a massive, unexpected jackpot. The result is pure obsession. The pigeon starts pecking the button frantically, completely unable to stop, aggressively chasing the unpredictable high of that random reward. This psychological mechanism is called a variable reward schedule. It is the exact same underlying principle that powers every single slot machine and casino globally. Now, look closely at your smartphone. Every single time you pull down the screen to refresh your feed, you are pulling a digital slot machine lever. Most of the time, you just get boring updates or stressful news. But every once in a while, you find a hilarious video or lovely message. When that happens, your dopamine system goes into absolute overdrive. It is not the actual reward that keeps you addicted. It is the thrilling unpredictability. You will willingly scroll through 50 terrible, anxiety-inducing posts just to find that one perfect meme. Your brain learns that relentless persistence eventually pays off. This is exactly why your anxiety and your dopamine systems get tangled together. You are deeply stressed, but desperately chasing a tiny digital jackpot. You repeatedly tell yourself, just one more post. But the algorithm is explicitly designed to ensure there is never a satisfying ending. The feed is infinite. In the real world, activities have natural stopping cues. A book has chapters. A movie ends. But social media generates endless, bottomless, frictionless content. Your ancient survival brain simply does not have the evolutionary brakes required to stop itself in an artificial environment filled with infinite, unpredictable digital rewards. So, if pure willpower is practically useless against a billion-dollar algorithm, how do we actually escape this digital maze? We must change our physical environment. Willpower alone cannot beat a billion-dollar algorithm. Instead of fighting your own mind, you need to completely redesign your physical environment to create friction. To break an addiction, we must examine the habit loop. Researchers define this as a cycle of cue, routine, and reward that controls your behavior. For you, the cue is the terrifying silence of your bedroom. The routine is endless scrolling, and the reward is temporary distraction from your anxiety. Your brain runs this loop automatically. To stop it, you must insert a physical barrier between the cue and the routine before the habit triggers. Let us look at your nightstand. Having your glowing smartphone right next to your pillow is basically inviting the algorithm into your personal sleeping space. Try a simple physical change tonight. Plug your charger in across the room. Make it physically annoying to reach your phone when you feel anxious. That tiny physical distance acts as a psychological buffer. It gives your logical brain just enough time to wake up and question your automatic impulses. When you have to stand up to get the phone, your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain, can finally step in and hit the brakes. This small pause interrupts the automatic dopamine craving. It allows your rational mind to realize that you are just tired, not actually in any danger. Do not expect immediate perfection. Studies by Lally and colleagues show that forming a new habit takes an average of 66 days, not 21. The first few nights will feel incredibly uncomfortable. As you lie there without your digital pacifier, your internal anxiety might suddenly spike even higher. Your inner critic will yell louder, demanding that you check your feed just one more time. Remember, this is simply chemical withdrawal from digital dopamine. Instead of fighting the discomfort, acknowledge it. Tell yourself, I am feeling anxious right now, but I do not need a screen to survive this. Finally, replace the toxic routine with a gentle one. Keep a physical book on your nightstand. A real book has chapters, pages, and a natural ending. Reading forces your eyes to move slowly, signaling safety to your nervous system. It gently guides your tired mind towards sleep instead of digital panic. Now that you have survived the night, let us talk about the morning after. The heavy burnout from months of doom scrolling will still linger. You wake up and your brain instinctively expects that massive rush of artificial dopamine. But today, you decide to leave the phone on the desk. This is exactly when your inner critic will try a brand new strategy. It will try to make you feel incredibly guilty about your past habits. It whispers that you have already wasted too much time, so you might as well just give up and go back to your old destructive routines. This brings us to the most powerful tool in your psychological toolkit: self-compassion. It sounds cliché, but biologically, it is your strongest defense mechanism. When you practice self-forgiveness, your brain immediately stops treating your past mistakes as active threats. This halts the production of stress hormones right at the source. Instead of forcing a massive lifestyle change, you need to slowly rebuild your ruined reward system. You can do this by practicing tiny daily micro-joys. Rather than shocking your dopamine system with an explosive digital jackpot, you feed it tiny, stable drops of natural satisfaction that do not cause a crash. These micro-joys are wonderfully boring. It could be watering a small houseplant, feeling the warm morning sunlight, or just deeply breathing in your fresh coffee. At first, your overstimulated brain will completely reject these simple activities. It will tell you that this is useless and desperately demand a glowing screen. But over time, your dopamine receptors slowly repair themselves. They become sensitive again, allowing you to actually feel genuine pleasure from normal, everyday human experiences. There will definitely be nights where you fail and fall right back into the doom-scrolling trap. That is perfectly normal. Recovery is never a straight line. When you inevitably relapse, simply notice the anxiety creature sitting next to you. Do not judge it. Just gently put the phone down and try again. Slowly, your default mode network will relearn how to process silence without instantly hitting the panic button. You will finally start feeling safe inside your own head. You are no longer a hostage to the algorithm. In our final chapter, let us look at the beautiful mental space you are actively building today. Welcome to the other side. When you finally break the doom-scrolling loop, your mind stops being a terrifying battlefield and becomes a beautiful, peaceful garden again. It takes time to clear out the digital weeds, but every single time you put your phone down, you are planting a brand new seed. Your inner critic will eventually realize that you are no longer listening to its panic broadcasts. It will slowly put down the microphone and rest. And your little jittery anxiety creature? Without a constant stream of global disasters to feed on, it will finally curl up and go to sleep. Your biological chemicals will return to their natural harmony. Cortisol will stop keeping you awake, and dopamine will reward you for meaningful human connections. Your default mode network will finally reset. Instead of endlessly ruminating on your darkest fears, it will go back to processing beautiful daydreams. You will wake up to the bright morning sun feeling genuinely rested. The heavy brain fog that used to cloud your thoughts will completely vanish. When you look at your smartphone sitting safely across the room, it won't control you anymore. It becomes just a tool, not a master. Remember, the algorithms were designed by thousands of brilliant engineers to capture your attention. You are not weak for falling into their trap, but you are incredibly strong for choosing to step out of it. You have the ultimate power to rebuild the architecture of your own mind. Whenever the world feels too loud, just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and remember that true peace is found in the quiet moments. Thank you for joining me on this journey through your mind today. Learning how your brain works is the first step toward true psychological freedom. If this video helped you find a little bit of peace, please subscribe to our channel. We have many more psychological mysteries left to decode. Take care of yourself, be gentle with your thoughts tonight, and have a wonderful, restful sleep. I will see you in the next video. The information in this video is for reference only and does not replace the advice of a psychological expert. If you are experiencing mental health difficulties, please reach out to a professional or someone you trust.